Hello, everyone. Today's chess puzzle. We have a board where white has, so white has a pawn on d5, a knight on e5, pawns on d4, a3, g3, h3, b2, and f2.
Yeah.
A rook on d1, and the king on g1. Black has a rook on f8, the king on g8, pawns on a7, f7, g7, h7, b6, and e6. A knight on f4, and the queen on c2. Let's get this going. This one's tricky. White seems to be in a decent position, but there's something about black's setup.
Yeah. What's fascinating here is how black's pieces, well, they're poised for a potential attack, despite not having obvious immediate threats. The knight on f4, that's particularly interesting. It's almost like a coiled spring ready to jump into a key square.
Okay, I see what you mean. So if we're looking for black's best move, we need to figure out how to unleash the power of that knight.
Right, exactly. And we need to consider what kind of chain reaction that move will trigger. Remember, the best move, it isn't just about immediate gains. It's about setting up a series of events that lead to a long-term advantage.
Got it. So let's walk through this. What are some of the moves black could consider? What are the consequences?
Well, the most tempting move is probably knight f4 to e2, attacking the white king directly. But white's pawn on f2, it blocks that square. Other moves, like advancing the queen, they don't seem to create an immediate threat.
So we need to find a move that forces white to respond in a way that opens up opportunities for black.
Precisely. And if we look closely, there's a move that does exactly that.
Okay. Lay it on me. What's the solution?
The answer is knight f4 to e2.
Knight f4 to e2. But wait, didn't we just say that move is blocked by the pawn on f2?
But what we haven't considered yet is the concept of forcing moves. By moving the knight to e2, black forces white to respond in a very specific way.
You mean white has to move their king to g2 to avoid being captured, right?
Exactly. And that seemingly simple move by the white king, it completely changes the dynamic of the board. Suddenly, black's queen on c2 has a clear path to d1.
Oh, wow. I see it now. Queen c2 to d1.
And while this doesn't lead to an immediate checkmate, the pressure it puts on white, it's immense. Black's queen now controls a powerful diagonal, targeting white's weak pawns, and potentially setting up further attacks.
So even though it's not a checkmate, this sequence of moves puts black in a commanding position. It's like a domino effect, where one seemingly quiet move leads to a cascade of threats.
Precisely. And that's the beauty of chess. It's not always about brute force attacks. It's about understanding subtle positional advantages and maneuvering your pieces to create a long-term strategy.
Thank you for listening.